Do you know, the can of sardines you dislike in your fridge may be quietly deciding whether you live a long and healthy life, or whether you have clogged blood vessels, brittle bones, and a slow brain aging quickly and miserably. Doesn't that sound exaggerated? But this is not alarmist. But many people have eaten health products for a lifetime, but they lost on that $5 can of small fish. You may not believe it, but what follows will completely change your perception of canned and sardines. We're going to get it back from the junk food list today, and let you know that what can really save your heart, bones, blood sugar, and brain is not the ridiculously expensive health supplements, but the can of sardines that you have been ignoring. Think about it. Are those cans of sardines always stuffed at the bottom of the refrigerator? Buying it back is just hoarding it in an emergency, or it is fishy, too cheap, or even thinks how can eating canned food be a sign of health? But have you ever thought that it is the can of fish that you have not been willing to eat, look down on, or even feel ungraded for decades that is the secret weapon of the longevity diet jointly recommended by doctors and nutritionists around the world? In today's issue, let's get to know this can of fish again. Does it really help with health? Are there any risks for older adults? Is it too fishy and salty to eat every day? This is not an ordinary can of food, but a treasure that you have misplaced. If you don't recognize it now, you may regret not eating it sooner in the future.
I share a story that is the story of my neighbor George's house. He and his wife are both in their early 70s, and their physical conditions once differed greatly. George is particular about buying the most expensive healthcare products, fish oil, calcium tablets, and melatonin, and he also exercises on time, soaks his feet, and watches health programs every day. His wife is very casual, and she doesn't believe in any brand name health products, so she buys 2 or 3 cans of sardines every week and comes back with rice. Don't say it. She really loves to eat, and even a little addicted, and if she doesn't have some sardines for a meal, she feels a little less flavorful. As a result, there was a physical examination organized by the unit, and both of them did a detailed blood test and bone density assessment. After the results of the examination came out, Lauhu's blood lipids were high, his blood sugar was also high, and his bone density also decreased significantly. And his wife's physical examination list is very stable. All indicators are online, and the bones are still very tough. The doctor also joked, "You are 70 years old, 60 years old." Everyone was surprised and asked her what she had eaten and drank, and she shook her head and said, "How can I have those conditions to eat expensive? I will eat sardines and eat happily." Upon hearing this, George was a little unconvinced. I spend hundreds of dollars a month on healthcare products, and she can compare to a can of small fish for a few dollars. But slowly, he began to observe, and found that his wife was indeed in better spirits than he was, sleeping deeply, walking steadily, and sometimes even having a better memory than he did. So he also tried to eat along, and began to change from 1 can a week to 3 cans, and gradually ate less health products. In the past 3 months, his follow-up results have improved significantly, his blood sugar and blood lipids have decreased, and he is much more energetic. He later smiled and said, "I spent 3 years not figuring out the healthcare logic, and my wife defeated me with 3 cans of fish." This news spread in our community, and many old people began to wonder, is this sardine really so godly? You may be one of them, trying to figure out how much feed there is in this can of fish. Then I'll tell you why so many people looked down on it at first, but then they couldn't do without it. First of all, sardines are one of the few fish that can truly be eaten whole fish with bones and oil. Most of the fish we usually eat is sliced, boneless, and skinless, and at most, we eat some fish soup, which is easy to lose nutrients. But canned sardines are different in that they are cooked under high temperature and pressure with the bones until crispy. Not only the meat is soft and tender, but even the bones can be easily chewed. This means that what you eat is not only the protein of the fish, but also the calcium of the fish bones, the collagen of the fish skin, the DHA of the fish brain, and even the deep-sea fish oil, which is considered an all-in-one nutrition package. To say that it is canned food is not so much that it is an underrated storehouse of nutrients. Some people may be concerned about whether sardines are high in heavy metals, but in fact the opposite is true. Sardines are small fish that have a very low food chain, eat plankton, have a short growth cycle, and do not accumulate large amounts of mercury and pollutants like sharks and tuna. The FAO report also clearly states that small deep-sea fish, such as sardines and herring, are among the safest, and most suitable for frequent consumption. So how strong can its nutrition be? Let's take a look at the nutrition facts list. A small can of sardines, about 100 grams, provides nearly 250 milligrams of calcium, which is equivalent to the calcium content of a glass of milk. Contains close to 20 grams of high-quality protein, which is almost equal to a large piece of chicken breast. It also contains more than 1.5 grams of omega-3 fatty acids, which is much higher than the effective content of commercially available fish oil soft gels. The key is that it also carries natural vitamin D3, which is so important for middle-aged and elderly people to absorb calcium and protect bones. Many people can't absorb calcium tablets and have gastrointestinal discomfort. In fact, they lack vitamin D to be a porter, and sardines just come with this courier, so the calcium you eat can really be sent to the bones. Let's talk about blood sugar. Many elderly people control sugar and make a fuss about staple foods, dare not eat rice, dare not touch noodles, make themselves hungry and panic, and as a result, nutrition is unbalanced, but blood sugar fluctuates more. Sardines, a high-protein, low-carb food, can delay gastric emptying, reduce postprandial blood sugar spikes, and reduce the burden on pancreatic islets. It is especially suitable for people with prediabetes, high blood sugar, or want to stabilize their weight. You can eat sardines with whole grain porridge, roll them in lettuce as cold cuts, or mix them with green vegetables for fried rice to increase satiety and balance nutrition. Many people say, but sardines are so fishy and salty, I can't get used to eating them. I understand that, because I felt that way at first. But then I tried a few things and found that I could really improve a lot. For example, you can open the can and rinse it with hot water to remove some of the oil and saltiness, and then mix it with green onion, ginger, garlic, or lemon juice for a little bit, and the taste will be much more refreshing. There are also tomato-flavored canned sardines, which are sweet and sour to neutralize the fishy smell, which is perfect for those who are just starting out. In fact, eating is the same as being a person. You can't be picky as soon as you come up. You have to give each other some time to adapt. As long as you are willing to give it a try, you will find that this little fish is much more palatable than you think. You may not believe it, but many foreign doctors eat sardines themselves. Especially in countries such as the United States, Canada, and Germany, nutrition experts even list sardines as brain gold food and heart protection food. They recommend middle-aged and elderly people to eat sardines 2 to 3 times a week, not because it is expensive, but because it is stable. What does it mean to be stable? It's that it doesn't provide a critical hit of a certain nutrient, but a whole system that supports your body. It is not a gimmick that relies on advertising like healthcare products, nor is it exchanged like popular supplements. It is silently there. The price is real, the nutrition is real, and it is useful to eat it. You might think, doesn't it sound a bit unpretentious? But in the final analysis, isn't it these little things that seem ordinary, but are actually powerful, that really support your health? Next, I want to talk to you about how to eat sardines most cost-effectively, how to choose not to step on the pit, who will benefit the most from eating them, and what special situations to pay attention to. As long as you listen carefully, I'm sure you'll be like me, reopen that can of sardines, and then move it from the corner of the fridge to the center of your dining table. Because the more you know, the more you will understand. This is not a can, but a key starting point for whether the body can stabilize in the next 10 years. Let's move on. You may wonder how much of a benefit it can bring, and is it worth it to seriously change the way I eat it and stick it into my diet? I'll tell you in the simplest and most straightforward way. Don't talk about those difficult technical terms. Just say the 4 things you care about the most: heart, bones, blood sugar, and brain. As long as you are over 60 years old, there are hardly any problems in these 4 places. And sardines, just like a small key, can help you open these 4 health doors in one go. Let's start with the heart. Have you ever noticed that the older you get, the more likely you are to be short of breath, palpitation, and chest tightness? Many times it's not because you're exercising too much. It's because your blood vessels are hardening and the blood flows slowly and poorly. The omega-3 fatty acids in sardines, known as deep sea gold, are the umbrella of blood vessels, which can reduce bad cholesterol in the blood, reduce inflammation levels, and crucially, soften blood vessels and allow blood flow to flow smoothly. You can think of it as a lubricant for blood vessels, like a water pipe that has been fouled for a long time and the flow rate slows down, just brush it with a mild detergent, and the omega-3 of sardines is that brush. Moreover, unlike drugs, which have side effects, the nutrients you eat are ingredients that the body already needs and will not disrupt other systems. For the elderly, this natural nutritional protection is safer and more sustainable than taking a bunch of lipid-lowering drugs. Speaking of bones, the elderly are most afraid of falling, and if they fall, they will either break bones or stay in bed, and they may even be sick in serious cases. But the problem is that many people take calcium every day, but they still have osteoporosis. Why? The calcium you replenish is not absorbed. I drank a lot of milk, and the calcium tablets didn't fall, but if the body didn't absorb it, it was in vain. Unlike sardines, the calcium is naturally stewed from the bones, and the fish itself has vitamin D. You must know that vitamin D is the porter of calcium. Without it, calcium entering the body is only passerby armor and cannot really become a part of your bones. Therefore, sardines, a food that matches calcium plus vitamin D, is the calcium that can really be replenished and used. In addition, it is also very high in protein, and it can maintain muscle strength, strong muscles, stable bones, and only when walking can it have confidence, and it is not easy to fall. When it comes to blood sugar, that's the area where many people are most anxious. Do you also test your blood sugar often? After a full meal, you have to take out the blood glucose meter and poke it after 2 hours, for fear that you will exceed the standard again. In fact, many elderly people's blood sugar fluctuates greatly, not entirely because they eat sugar, but because there is not enough protein in the meal, which causes the carbohydrates to be absorbed too quickly at once. Sardines are high in protein quality and digested more slowly, which will make your entire meal slower to raise sugar, flatten the blood sugar curve, and reduce the pressure on insulin. That way, even if you eat some rice, your blood sugar won't go straight up like a roller coaster. Especially for some elderly people with prediabetes or high and low blood sugar. If you add a little sardine to every meal, even if it is just 3 or 4 bites, it may help you stabilize the overall situation of blood sugar. In the long term, it can even help improve insulin sensitivity and make the body more able to process sugar. Finally, let's talk about the brain. To be honest, what people are most afraid of when they get old is not poor health, but that their brains are getting more and more confused. I forgot where to put the key today, and I repeat what I just said tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow I will start to recognize the road I often walk. You think it's normal aging, but in many cases, the nervous system starts to degenerate. The DHA and vitamin B12 in sardines are the cleaners and linemen who maintain the brain, and DHA is responsible for lubricating the joints of nerve cells to keep the signal running smoothly. Vitamin B12 is responsible for repairing the damaged nerve shell, which is equivalent to wrapping the wires in your brain with an insulating layer. Eating these nutrients is like maintaining the brain, removing dust, and preventing short circuits. Studies have also found that eating foods rich in DHA and vitamin B12 can delay cognitive deterioration and reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Is it worth it, you say? A jar of sardines is not expensive, but it can keep you sober and dignified. You may also ask, do I want to eat every day? Actually, no. As recommended by the American Heart Association, eating 2 to 3 times a week is sufficient. You can think of it as a maintenance day, such as arranging a meal with sardines on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It can be used for bibimbap, noodles, soup, and even steamed in steamed buns. Eat a small jar at a time, which will neither get tired nor be too burdensome. After you eat for a few weeks, you will find that your body gradually has some small changes that are not easy to notice, such as walking steadily, sleeping more deeply at night, flattening the blood sugar curve, and people are less flustered and irritable. It's not a miracle. It's the body quietly responding to the little bit of eating wisdom you have exchanged. Some people may still be skeptical. Does this sardine have any side effects? Is it bad to eat too much? If you choose a regular brand, the ingredient list is clean and there is no additional messy chemical ingredients, then it is essentially a deep-sea fish, using a high-temperature sterilization and sealing process, no preservatives, no flavors, and it is not at the same level as takeaway processed meat or canned ham. The only caveat is that if you have a high-sodium diet, choose a low-salt version of sardines, or soak them in a little oil before eating. Others, As long as your teeth and mouth are okay and your stomach can accept it, you can eat with confidence. And compared to the bottles and cans in your cupboard that you haven't felt for a year, sardines are much more realistic. It won't lie to you, and it doesn't need advertising. What is truly valuable is often the quietest, most low-key kind. It won't appear in hot searches every day, nor will it be hyped by internet celebrities, but it's there, and when you figure it out, you can benefit from it. Many elderly people have tried and persevered, and as a result, their bodies have improved little by little, and they have become more confident. Even if it is not a miracle, it is also better. And all you have to do is take it from the supermarket shelf, put it back in your basket, open it, and take a bite. When you develop this habit, it will cover the most important parts of your body for you for a long time in the future, so that you can still live vigorously, brainily, and confidently after the age of 60. Let's go on in the next paragraph. How to choose the right, really reliable canned sardines, so that you can eat healthy and eat with peace of mind. In the final analysis, health is never something that can be changed by taking a few health products. It is the result of adding up what you eat every day. Just like that can of sardines, it doesn't look special, the packaging is simple, and the price is even so low that people wonder if it's useful, but it stabilizes the most important systems of the body little by little before you know it. It's not that it's a miracle drug, nor does it say that it can replace the doctor's treatment, but that as food, it just makes up for the nutrients that middle-aged and elderly people are most likely to lack, and can be gently accepted and slowly absorbed by the body. This is not a myth. This is an improvement that many people have personally experienced, and it is a healthcare that we can really see, eat, and touch in our lives. I know that many people still have a pimple in their hearts about eating canned food, especially the elderly, who always feel that it is because young people are too lazy to cook to eat, or will eat in an emergency. But I would say that we have to keep up with the times. Today's food processing is not the same as in the past. The modern sardine canning process is cleaner, safer, and the nutrition is more complete. Even doctors are recommending it. What reason do we have to refuse? If you look closely at the ingredient list, you can count 3 or 4 things: fish, salt, oil, and some are even boiled in pure water, without even adding oil. This kind of simple, real food is the real good thing. It is not as greasy as takeaway, nor is it as empty as health products. It is a real source of nutrition that can be used by the body. And if you think about it again, a can of sardines costs a few dollars, mixed with some greens, and served with some rice. You can eat nutritious and comfortable. If you are willing to pair it with some whole grains, tofu, and eggs, the whole meal will be very balanced. Instead of wanting to eat something expensive every day, it is better to integrate this useful food into your life first. It's not the main character, but it's the most stable supporting role on your health stage, silently guarding the chassis for you and not letting you go wrong easily. If you schedule 1, 2, or 3 times a week and treat it as a health fixture on the family table, the effect may be more real than if you eat fish oil and calcium tablets every day. I often say that at our age, we don't want to be rich, but we want to eat safely, walk steadily, and sleep soundly every day. If there's something that can help you stabilize your heart, harden your bones, regulate your blood sugar, and clear your mind, then it's worth taking seriously. Sardines happen to be such an option. It is cheap but not cheap, low-key but very effective, and it is a good partner for your healthy life. Don't hesitate anymore. Don't be held back by the perceptions of the past. Health does not depend on concepts, on action, not on reason, but on practice. If you don't try, you never know what difference it can make.
Eating right and living steadily. This is the most real and worthwhile confidence for you and me after we are over 60 years old. Sardines, not can, are your body's most reliable friend. Nah, it's time to get to know it again. I really recommend that you start your next trip to the supermarket and take a second look at the canned sardines on the shelves and try one of them. You can eat first, then check the changes in your body and slowly integrate into life. Even if you eat it twice a week, you're already better than most people. Don't be stingy. Share this health experience with your relatives and friends, especially those who take medicine every day and worry about blood sugar and lipids.